That
FLF, episode something. I can't remember off the top of my head now that I started talking. But this is Delphi Part 2, so we're going to be back talking about the uh, strange and mysterious Delphi murders. That seems to be an ever evolving plot of weirdness and bizarre happenings in the courtroom now that a suspect has been arrested.
ooh.
Before we get started, I do want to talk about hot sauce. All right, now I don't
Oh,
know. Are you guys into spicy stuff by any chance?
yes.
I am an avid. My favorite is Texas Pete, but yes, I love hot
Texas
sauce.
Pete, North Carolina brand. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have I have started making my own buffalo sauce to go with wings. It's just something a kick I've been on for the last like month,
Mm-hmm.
and I've invested in some very hot sauce, and I got some new Tabasco sauces. One is a scorpion pepper Tabasco, and the other is a habanero Tabasco sauce. Great. The scorpion sauce is it doesn't seem to be extremely hot, but it burns the shit out of my lips. Like
Oh
my
yeah.
tongue's fine, but lips are just completely fucked up. But I did buy a ghost pepper sauce. It's an African ghost pepper. Best taco sauce I've ever had. Hands
Oh
down,
yeah.
phenomenal. And then I
Did you
got
hear?
this motherfucker. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, did you hear that the Carolina Reaper got replaced by
Yes.
a new hot one? Like it's another
Yes.
South
So
Carolina pepper, though.
it is called Pepper X.
Mm-hmm.
So I have this. This is called Hellfire Doomed. It was like the top five hottest sauces when it was made. It was made for Hellboy, the movie Hellboy when it came out.
Yeah.
That is fucking terrible. That is it tastes okay, but like it's so it burned for like an hour. It was
Oh
that
yeah.
hot. And even when I don't like, I put like two drops in like Baby Ray's buffalo wing sauce. Still too hot. So that stuff is incredible. I'm gonna ship some out to a friend of mine. But the Pepper X. So my kids enjoy like I don't. It's not like I'm eating everything with spicy food, right? But my
Mm-hmm.
my kids enjoy watching people eat spicy things. It's just the over like crazy reactions have been. This has been their thing lately. And me and my son watched an interview about the world's hottest pepper. And the guy who made Pepper, the Carolina Reaper, is also the same guy who crossbred and made Pepper X. It's his
Yeah.
thing. Apparently, he ate one like a full pepper on. I don't know if it was on whatever that wing show is. I can't for the life of me recall off the
Hmm.
top
Hot
of my head.
ones.
Hot ones. I think he ate one on that one. I could be wrong about that, but he said that 3 hours later, he was having stomach cramps and ended up crying outside in the rain because he couldn't get inside because his stomach was cramping up so bad. And then he ate
Mm.
more. So I'm not. I hope I never get to that level. I laying on the
Do you
ground
watch?
crying.
Do you watch Hot Ones? Like, did you see on there when Halle Berry was on there and she like cleaned the bones? Like, they couldn't stop her, man. She was just a
Halle
force to be
Berry,
reckoned with.
like Storm Halle Berry or Halle Berry
Yeah,
like
Yep.
Ariel Halle Berry.
yeah, like
Storm.
the movie
Okay.
star. Yeah.
R. Halle Berry. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, no, so I've never watched a full episode of it. I have only watched clips,
Hmm.
and I had a we made friends with the through sports with one of my kids. Unfortunately, they had to move, but he was we went over to their house, and the dad he's like, "Hey man, you like hot stuff?" I was like, "Yeah," and he pulled out his entire collection of hot sauces. It's like,
Oh
which one
man.
do you want? I was like, oh, dude, this is amazing. So it was a fun little thing right there. So maybe that's what kind of started this
A
hot sauce
majority
thing
of that
there.
show is just filler, anyways. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so the clips
They're
just
doing
get
a
to
good
the good
job.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're doing a good job that they have that. They've been that successful and just eating hot shit. So hats
Right.
off to that guy, whatever his name is, and however he's doing it. Good for him. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about real quick is a couple of sports topics.
Oh,
Did you
nice.
guys see the hockey player that got killed?
No.
No.
What
Dude, it
happened?
was NHL player, but he wasn't playing in America at the time. He was in a European league. I don't know which one. He got like ice skated to the neck, dude.
Oh, they got him in the
Oh
Oh,
jugular.
yeah, dude. I wish I didn't watch the video, but I
why
Yeah,
did,
would you watch
and
it?
yeah, I just ended up in that situation, John.
it just happens.
Curiosity.
Yeah, I got there and I was like, because I think that anyone who's ever been on ice skates has like had that thought of like, oh my god, this is I'm using a knife to skate. What happens if someone falls wrong? That's what
That's
happens, dude.
that's happened a few
Brutal.
times in hockey too. Like I think someone else got bladed on accident before, and then I know there was another instance where that dude cracked the other guy over his like with his cracked his skull with his stick. You remember that?
Oh well, see, that is. I think that's very different than accidentally getting kicked in the neck, dude. Hockey's got
Oh
some
yeah.
brutal fights in it.
Nobody has teeth.
Well, the good ones can pay to replace them. The great ones don't even bother.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was about to say. Like that's like a badge of honor whenever you got the walrus mouth and you're missing your front teeth.
yeah, there's two basic rules in life. Never fight the hockey coach, and I don't remember what the second one was. But it was a Blue Mountain State reference there. Um, and then finally, I don't recommend anybody look into that, but that is something that happened. And finally, the last thing is in honor of the World Series. Even though my team was shut out in the first
Mine.
round, go Baltimore,
Yeah.
good for them. Our cool guy of the week. This is going to be Doc Ellis, who on June 12th, 1970, threw a no hitter while he was fully high on acid.
Oh
And
yeah.
he does a great job telling that story. And then
Oh yeah.
some real person on YouTube, I'll put it in. I'll link it in the show. Did a
You
great
got a
job
no-no
explaining it.
going.
You got a no going.
I don't know. So
Yeah.
that's my shout out to him and his ability to make that happen because that is not something that's happened very often, and for him to do it just blitzed out of his mind, that's impressive.
You know, MLB banned that no-hitter from being replayed for like decades because it destroyed the sanctity of the game. And there was a petition that went around. I actually signed that to get it to be shown again on MLB Network. They
I
finally, I
signed
think
that
they,
petition too. I forgot that happened. I
yeah,
remember you shared that on one of the social medias,
yep.
and yeah, I signed that one. So I'm glad we could be part of history, changing baseball's
Well,
staunch
it was a
topic.
wild game, and like the manager pretty much kept him in there to punish him because he knew he was zonked out of his mind. He like hit like two batters and he threw like eight walks, but like that's the thing is nobody could hit him like because they didn't know where the ball was going.
We had balls going in the dirt. We had balls hitting the batters. It was all over the place.
Just
Yeah,
a bit outside.
yeah,
So, oh, that's crazy, man. Yeah, I'll have to find the actual video of that and I'll have to play
man.
it. But
I
baseball was weird this year. Great season. It was
I
fun to
was gonna
watch.
say it was interesting, but like, is it rigged? Like for like the people betting on these games now for like, because if anybody picked the Rangers at the beginning of the season and bet on it, they made a ton of money.
If baseball
Absolutely.
was rigged, there's no way we would have had a Rangers Arizona Diamondbacks World Series.
Well, they would have been the two least likely. I mean, at
Oh
least
yeah,
whenever.
I think they were bottom five. I want to say the Orioles were the last, or were in the bottom five as well. They weren't the lowest bid, but they were. It was some astronomical number where if you picked them to win the AL, they would have. You would have made something like 300 or $3,200 for every dollar you bet. I mean, there's some insane
e-
amount, but now
Even the
baseball
year that
rigging, you have to pick. You have to get the Dodgers in there. You have to get the Yankees in there. Um,
Well,
I
even the
don't
year
think.
that
Yeah, go ahead.
Atlanta won, we was the year that Hank Aaron died, and then we didn't even have a snowball's chance in hell, it seemed like, to even get to the playoffs. Then we make the playoffs, and then we have that magical run and just happen to get good. And then this year, we're like the dominant team, and then we lose in the first round. I know they changed the format a little bit, but I don't know. Like they've got like sports betting has got more predominant, and to me, I'm just wondering if like they don't necessarily the whole season's set up and rigged,
Yeah.
but what benefits the gamblers to me is what I'm wondering about.
So that is something that opens it up very well. The speculation like that, all right? Obviously, so like baseball history, the Chicago Black Sox
Mm-hmm.
back in the early 1900s, they threw a World Series for gambling and they put a
Yeah,
stop to that for 100 years. But now that
yeah,
gambling's back involved, I think that the reason is I think baseball is probably the hardest sport to rig because the
yeah,
person who has the most control is going to be the behind the plate ump.
right.
And I think we've all seen like, okay, these calls aren't going in favor of this team, but they, you know what I mean? Like the strike zone's
Yeah.
a little bit wider, a little bit smaller, depending on who's calling, right? What you can't predict in baseball is 8-run innings where a team's just clicking and they're hitting that hot streak. You can't predict that. There's no way they're calling down to Jacob DeGrom and be like, hey man, just throw him 93 instead of 98. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But yeah, that would football easy to rig, basketball super
was
easy to
rigged.
rig, but probably still is.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
I
one
know
guy.
in baseball,
Okay,
it's one sport. Like in football, they'll run cameras from several different angles. They'll get a press box review, coach review, and everything. But baseball, it's like whatever they call that ball coming down that plate, that's what it is.
yeah,
yeah.
there's no do
You can't
overs.
argue. You can't argue balls and strikes, but they do finally have instant replay when it comes to the play-by-play part of it. It took them like 172 years to finally get it.
Right.
Funny thing though, like I was just thinking about with wrestling, which we know is rigged. There was one instance where they had an outcome. It was a Royal Rumble, and the two guys fell out of the ring at the same exact time, and one like there was no way. They even showed a replay. There's no way to try to say that one beat the other, and so they had to call it a tie. And Vince McMahon comes down to the ring because he's all pissed off about what happened. And when he's trying to go inside the ring, he blew both his quads and he had to lay on the ground and they had to like play it off because that's, wrestling. And he's just laying on the ground, like trying to act, stay in character. And it was just chaos. It's one of my favorite instances of wrestling. Really good one.
There's a lot of really good information out there about Vince McMahon. Um, I know one of my favorite podcasts, Behind the Bastards. They did a 6-part series on Vince McMahon. They went to his background when he was a kid. I mean, his dad was in wrestling, but Vince McMahon is like
Vince
the
McMahon
wrestling
Sr.
messiah. Not whatever. He brought the sport together, air quote sport together, and made it what it is. So I mean that dude, you know, quite a bastard behind the scenes,
Mm-hmm.
quite a bastard in character too. But
Yeah.
he did a lot. Yeah, I really enjoyed watching wrestling when I was younger. We got to experience
We had
The
the Attitude
Rock,
Era.
Stone Cold.
Right.
Well, I can't remember. It's Triple H and when they were doing the sucker
Degeneration
sign.
X.
Yeah,
When they
Kane!
went to WCW and they went to war with WCW right in front of their headquarters was some of the greatest television ever.
it was beautiful,
Yeah.
man. Shawn Michaels, and then my favorite, my brother and I, we used to fuck each other up in the beds, man. Was the Hardy Boys. Them
Oh
doing
yeah.
flips off shit, dude. Oh yeah, I definitely got some cartilage damage going from bed to bed doing a flip. You know what I mean? So, but
You
yeah, that
know
was
they
good stuff, man.
they say that the best wrestler of all of them was Bret Hart. Now he was kind of annoying, and I hated his pink tights and stuff. But they said that he would make every bad wrestler look good. So like all of his matches were top notch. And there's actually a lot of guys that were going to be picked to be the next big guy because Bret Hart made them look really good. and then they would go to wrestle someone else, and then like they'd be all stiff and they wouldn't know what to do, and they'd injure another wrestler and end up getting fired. There was one guy, I forgot the name of him, but he was supposed to take over for Hulk Hogan, and they were going to get rid of Hulk because this match he had with Brett, and then it turns out that he had another match after that, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, this guy sucks," and he ended up out of there, ended up in a mental institution and stuff like that, and then like
Was that the
later
Ultimate
on,
Warrior?
no, it wasn't Ultimate Warrior, but that's another one that he kind of his in ring performances kind of sucked, and it wasn't for if it wasn't for his rivalry with Bret Hart, he wouldn't have looked as good.
Well, I know the story that I heard about him was that he was juicing so much
Oh my
that
God, yeah.
he would run
Right.
to the stage and be out of breath because he
Oh
just
yeah.
he couldn't carry his weight because of all the all the gear he was on.
Bill
Ah,
Goldberg. Bill Goldberg freaking
oh, Bill Goldberg.
that's the reason why his matches would only be like a minute and a half, is because he couldn't actually wrestle and he'd be out of breath like so quickly.
Dude, shout out to Goldberg for being like a knockoff Stone Cold Steve Austin and then parlaying that into like a solid like long-term career with
He went
Yeah.
whatever
for
car
so
show he was
long
on.
with that undefeated title. You know what I'm saying? Like they carried that for so long.
Well, it's all they had in WCW at that point
How
in
do you?
time.
I mean, how do you get to that point though, where like you're the guy? They're like, okay, we're gonna make you the wrestler that remains undefeated for however long. Like that's such a such an awesome title to be able to carry around with you.
To
Well,
work your way into that position and to have the chips
Absolutely.
fall the way they fall, you know what I mean? Because there's no bad back. You know, I mean Hulk Hogan, he
He was a
shrank.
massive guy
You know what I
though. You know
mean?
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
yeah.
so that's crazy. Go ahead.
You ever seen Hulk Hogan next to the Undertaker? Like, the Undertaker is always made out to be this big giant, but like you'd see them in the ring together. They're about the same height, the same size.
I think the way they're built and then the camera angles they had going up against them because Hogan came in when it was yellow freaking speedos and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Undertaker came in when you could have a better stick.
A character,
It
yeah.
wasn't just okay. Well, now we have the Iron Sheik because hey, we hate these people this year. You know what I mean? He actually had a character that was involved that wasn't something just superficial. And so
To
Yeah.
he
be
comes
fair
in.
though, I preferred the yellow tights. I'm the real American Hulk Hogan to the NWO Hollywood
Hollywood.
Hogan, hands down. You know what I'm saying?
No questions asked, and I think the reason for that is because he remained Hogan. He just happened to change his outfit and he went from the bad guy to the good guy, or the good guy to the bad guy. Because
Yeah.
you look at I actually spent entirely too much time watching this one day. It was Kevin Nash was talking about how like we had this thing going where we were trying to get away from like Hogan. We didn't want to be that campy, like loud person.
Yeah.
And we were having a normal conversation doing an interview, and Hogan's coming to, that's right, brother, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, it didn't work because he didn't evolve his character into that.
No.
And when it failed, he kind of went back to it. You know what I mean? Like he had
Mm.
the Three Ninjas appearance. I think he was in the Three Ninja movie or something like that.
Yeah.
So
It was
The
shout
some
out to
movie
babysitter.
him,
about
yeah,
him being
man.
a space alien or something too.
He was an alien babysitter or something like that. I remember he pulled the
Yeah.
door off the car or something like that.
Alien
Yeah, I remember.
Babysitter. I saw that movie. I saw that movie like it was a while back, but it was after VHS had died. So this is like Prime DVD. I saw that in a thrift shop for 50 cents. I almost bought it just to say I
Yeah,
had it, but yeah,
as you
I
should.
just I didn't. I passed on that opportunity because the rational mind kicked in. Like I haven't seen a VHS player probably since that day because I could have
I
bought the
wonder
VHS.
how many movies have been lost to not getting copied onto like either the physical media like DVDs or the digital, like, how many movies are out there that are just lost to time that
Just
Probably
never got
because
there?
probably like 13.
Just 42, that's the answer to the universe.
Well, it's crazy because you had VHS and then DVDs come out and they upgraded everything to DVDs. And then Blu-rays came out and they started upgrading everything to Blu-rays. And we lost a large percentage then. But then streaming media came out and it was like some movies made the cut and some did not.
Well, there was a fire that hit MGM Studio, I believe. I might be wrong about the studio, but the fire destroyed several copies of original copies of movies, the reel to reel. So I think there was like 270 movies that were made back in the day that are lost forever because that was the only copy they had. So like we'll never see them, and they don't even there's no copies of it, nothing like that. So
Right.
Tough titties. But some of those old movies are hard to watch, especially when they did the transatlantic drawl when they're talking. Frankly, dear, I don't understand why you want to have women's rights. Women's liberation makes no sense to me.
There's one. It's like France's biggest feature film ever, and it's like it's something about a clan of the wolf or something like that. But basically, these guys came from Africa and they brought a lion with them, and they dressed it up in armor that made it look like a wolf. And people in France had never seen a lion before, so they thought there was a real life werewolf running around eating people.
Oh shit!
I was gonna say, like, what is the point of taking an apex?
It's based on a true story as well.
Why would you dress up an apex predator as another apex predator? But now I see where you're going with that. That's good.
It's a fantastic movie too. If we ever find a copy of it, my God, we'll have a movie night that night.
I was gonna say maybe we should do that. Maybe we should start like going to thrift shops and finding these crappy movies and doing like movie reviews every now and then on the show.
You guys want to do a movie watch along? That would be a great one to start with.
We should absolutely do that. What's the name of it? Hold on, I'm gonna put this on my list of things to invest
I can't remember. It's something about like the Clan of the Wolf or something. It's a France movie from the 90s.
French movie with a lion.
A France movie.
This damn Francis.
I got France in my pants.
And we could, we probably set up. I think we have to set up on
Twitch
for that,
or something.
Probably. Yeah, we have the capability to do it. I don't have a Twitch. You know what I mean?
But we would have to put on bikinis and get into a hot tub or
just
a
don't
bathtub.
show your feet. And
what happened?
Yeah, it's been a good 5 years since I've wore a bikini. I might have to do some waxing. You guys froze. Both of you froze at the same time.
To get back to our subject matter for tonight, though, Richard, I feel like this Delphi is going to be several different events. I don't believe, because as things come available and more information comes out, we're going to need to have updates.
We will definitely need to have updates. So, which I don't even think we can get into a whole lot tonight that we didn't cover in the first episode, other than just some speculation, some theories that were laid out by the lawyers. So I know, the lawyers leaked some information, or I'm sorry, not the lawyers, a staff member for the defense team leaked information. And then he killed himself.
Is that what happened?
Yep. Yeah, I think he got caught, and obviously, I don't know for sure, but the timing lines up that way. And so that guy, he's no longer with us. Hopefully, he rests in peace. But then the judge, there was a hearing, and the lawyers resigned. I think before they were sanctioned. I don't know how legal sanctions work.
I'm curious to know, what I mean? Like, is this some of this conspiracy that we've been hearing about coming to fruition? Like, I mean, I don't want to get into something like that because it's so dark. But it almost seems like from some of the things that I've read and some of the things that I've heard that they purposefully leaked this information to get a delay in the trial. And I don't know that it was for a better grasp on the case, or if it was for the fact that maybe they wanted out of the case because
I don't think they want it out of the case. I don't think that. I
yeah,
think
because they
that
offered to do it pro bono, and that's something that you never see in a high profile case like this.
well, you will. So you will see people step in and do pro bono work, but that is usually. I hate saying usually because I can't quantify it. What I believe situations like that happen is usually to build a name for yourself and to take it the next step up, either as a high profile lawyer or to move into some type of political office. I know the making the murderer
Right.
making a murderer. I think the second season that lady was doing that pro bono. On the flip side, according to them, it's this is a case I think we can win. Reality is okay. Now she's already one of the most established defense attorneys. Now she's on a
Right.
movie that's popular on Netflix. Is that does that change her fee? Yeah, it's worth it to at least open that
Well,
idea
I
up.
know, I'm not sure, like, I know that there was a lot of donations involved and there was the whole internet backing it, but the Adnan Syed case got so much coverage and so much backing by the legal forces. And of course, you had the armchair sleuths. And even now, like, they're still like talking about retrying the case, or like all these different things that's going on with that case. And
Talking about
I mean,
Adnan?
yeah,
Yeah.
but
So
this
just sorry to
he-
Delphi
cut you.
case,
Oh, he's guilty as fuck.
I, I, I mean, who else? Yeah, like that's something we can maybe talk about sometime. But like,
Oh, it's
it's
been
just
talked about.
there's
Well,
so
that's
many details in that case that you're just like, it's hard to overlook.
Mhm.
Like, okay, your cell phone pinged in the area where the body is, the area where her car was discovered. And then when your homeboy that was supposedly there with you gets locked up, the only other time your phone pinged the area where the body was is he went to jail, and then or he got picked up by the police, and all of a sudden it's like your phone pings there again. Why would you be there? Oh, you were making sure that the cops weren't there. So
That happened in
we.
Maryland, right?
Yeah, it's a Maryland
yes, it
case.
did.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
Richard, you're that's your neck of the woods. Like, you're a Mary Leander. Like, I mean, that. What do you think about that story? You think that guy's guilty?
So I listened to that podcast that the lady did. I don't remember the
Yeah,
name of it.
serial.
I need Serial. Yes, phenomenal podcast,
That was like an
and
OG podcast.
I need to go back and re-listen to that. What I do know about cops in general in Maryland are multiple times in my lifetime they have been caught actively
Corruption.
pushing in multiple jurisdictions, multiple across the state, multiple times caught pushing quotas where they have to meet expectations of arrest and tickets.
Mm.
And the the history of the Baltimore PD, it speaks for
Oh, we know
itself,
all
and
about it.
anyone can go out there and find that information.
Oh yeah.
And then one of the few times I was pulled over in Maryland, the cop asked me for my wallet,
Oh,
and they
you
took
sure he was even a
me.
cop?
No, it was cops. Yeah, I'm not. So I don't know the legality of it. What I can say, that saying which county or whatever, I don't want to open myself to liability. But we had some things that we shouldn't have had with us, and we left without a ticket. We left without the money, and we left without the things that we shouldn't have had with us. So
You got robbed, straight up.
yeah, it's straight
They
up.
took your
Just
money, they took your drugs.
Well, you
yeah.
don't know
Granted,
what it was.
granted,
They had a gun. Of
they
course it was a robbery.
yes. they Sheriff Johned us, or not, whatever, like Sheriff Nottingham, whatever his name was. They sheriffed us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They taxed us and they let us go. Now,
Well,
granted, I will say this: they didn't ruin my life that night. You know, if they were real cops and they, you know, if I shouldn't say real cops, if they were cops abiding by the law, I wouldn't have had, I wouldn't have had the Air Force career that I had.
that happened in
So
Jacksonville, though. Like in Jacksonville, North Carolina, they had a guy that was going around, or maybe it was Surf City or one of those little beach towns. There was a guy pretending to be a cop, pulling
that
women
happens
over.
everywhere. That is
Yeah.
a weird. I don't understand it. I can understand veterans, cops, any first responder. I can understand embellishing your career. I can't understand stealing the career and lying about it and then pretending to be a cop. There is an incredible video of he's a young person, and he's, I would say 17, 18, maybe 19, and he's got his lights on his car, and he rolls up to a family as they're walking in with his lights blaring. He gets out, he goes, "Hey, oh, da, 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 da." He's like, "Are you okay? We saw this happen." And he gets his car and drives away.
Have you
Like, it's
seen the
nuts.
Have you seen the guy that has a motorcycle and technically he works for a funeral home, a private funeral home, like a private, like not like a not government sanctioned. He has those like because you know how like they'll have the funeral processions and they'll have one car that has
Yeah.
like the green lights. He pretends he has a motorcycle. He pretends to be a cop and he'll scream profanities. He'll be like, "Get the fuck out of the way, you stupid idiots!"
He got
Pretending to be
busted
a cop.
recently.
Yeah. There's a bunch of YouTube videos of that guy.
Yeah,
He's
and
like,
occasionally, what seems to be a common pattern for those type of people is they'll get arrested once or like two or three times doing that exact same thing. It's not a lesson you learn. It's some type of weird mental health thing you got going on.
yeah,
But we were just talking about lawyers
Delphi.
doing reckless speculation as to why they're doing what they're doing. So the latest update is I'll have to pull this thing up. I'm gonna do it on my phone. That way I'm not causing the echo thing on my computer.
Mm,
But the latest thing is the actually, you know what? Timeout. Before we move on to this, I want to talk about weird animals in Europe. Did you guys remember when the
excellent.
raccoon dog was running around? So I think it was Germany. Nope.
No.
Okay. Do you know what a
Raccoon
raccoon
dog?
dog is? It's a dog. It's like a wild animal. It's like a mix between a raccoon and a dog. And it was
Okay.
attacking things. It was like eating livestock and stuff. And then some random couple like came face to face with this wild animal, and they fought it off with a 2x4, dude.
So you're basically describing the chupacabra at this
it's,
point, right?
it's That's exactly what I'm describing. Yeah, that happened in real life. I don't remember. It's my brother's favorite story to tell. Um, yeah. So back to Delphi. Now that I got that out of my system, so the lawyers they resigned before they could be sanctioned. Maybe they were sanctioned. Maybe they weren't. I don't understand legalese. I'm looking up Reddit on my Reddit app. I gotta go to the Delphi thing. But yeah, so the lawyers resigned, and then they said that they would work pro bono. But then the judge comes back and says, "I cannot and will not allow these attorneys to represent you." And it's kind of a tough spot, right? Because here are these lawyers who are willing to put in the work and take the trial, but the judge is saying that they can't, and I don't fully understand why they're not able to do that. So I understand that there was a leak from the office, but do they know that the lawyers themselves pushed for that leak?
I'm
And
not
then
positive. I know I saw something about emails. They got into emails. Um, I know one thing because this case was put on silence mode, that anything that was leaked out, they were saving for the trial. because it's like they wanted to silence everything because every little tiny drip of evidence was getting leaked out, and then now like you have everybody that knows everything about the crime, even now the positions of the bodies, the fact that they had those logs that were covering them that were shaped like these runes that we talked about before. Like there's so many things that have been leaked out that now they don't have any fodder for the actual trial.
Well, I mean, like what's been going on. Like you remember that Kyle Rittenhouse trial? Like everything was getting leaked there, and I mean, it was practically causing riots, and the media was trying to spin it one way, and then it turns out there's a lot more to it that proves the guy's kind of innocence a little bit. Like it turned out that he was like going out with medical bags and he was trying to help people and he was getting antagonized. And so maybe they're trying to prevent. I mean, there was practically riots happening over the leaks of the Kyle Rittenhouse case. So maybe they're
That's
trying
such
to
an
prevent that
interesting
from
case,
happening.
man.
Yeah.
What a dumb shit to go out and do that. But he did it,
Well,
given the situation he was in. It's
that's the
fucking
thing is there was more to it. I mean, like
that's it
I
sucks.
thought he was a big dummy myself, but it turns out that he was trying to go out during the riots and he was trying to be one of those people that helps with the medical bag with a gun. And he was antagonizing it like by going out there with a weapon that everybody's kind of getting argumentative about, but he was getting antagonized. Like, am I saying that word right? Antagonized?
So to be antagonized means to be provoked, be pushed in a
Yeah.
certain direction.
I just
So
felt for some reason I was saying the word wrong. My bad.
no, you're dead. You used it a lot. You could have alliterated it a little bit better, but
Ah,
yeah, you did it.
it
So
happened.
I know that that rapper YMW Melly, that he's on trial because they claim there was a drive-by shooting, and then the prosecution is trying to say that he shot his own friends from the back seat of the car. But they're having issues because they've already, like social media, they've already put the first round of the trial, like the first one led to a mistrial, but they put it on social media so hard. Now they're trying to go back and select jurors for the second trial, and they're having issues because every aspect of the case has been put on social media. All the details have been released. They know all of the prosecution's tactics, and they're having problems selecting jurors because everybody knows everything, and it's so heavily followed in the
And
media.
and
And I'm wondering if it's the same thing.
part of their evidence was the song too, wasn't it? Like they were trying to use "Murder on My Mind" as like proof that he did it. And it's like, when the hell has that ever been considered evidence?
Actually,
it's a couple times.
rap lyrics have been cleared to use in trials now as evidence.
There was somebody years ago who like verbatim broke down a shooting 8 people or something like that in a drive by. Like it was. I mean, it was the stupidest thing.
The gun is
Like
at 618 Wolf Avenue. You can find it under a
that's
plate. Yeah,
that's
I did it.
not far from what actually happened.
Right?
Well, it's like Keefe D, who, not only did he put out the book talking about the night Tupac was shot, but he also went on like the show with Sway. I believe it was either Sway or World Star, one of those hip hop shows, and talked about it there. And now he's in handcuffs. He's in jail for the murder of Tupac Shakur.
Yeah, Diddy did it.
Yeah, dumb fuck. That's I just like
By
He
the way,
straight up was
you got the
saying in
golden
his book,
ticket. You know what I mean?
he
Like
was
why do you
he
really need
was like,
credit that
man,
bad?
Diddy was gonna pay us $1 million, and then we never got paid. And it's like, shut up, dude. Shut the
yeah.
fuck up. Twenty
That's
By
six
the
years or whatever. 20 years, you got away with it. Shut your mouth.
you got away with it. Like you're good, dude. Why
by the
why why put yourself in prison forever
There's
if
no
you
by the
don't
statute of
have
way,
to?
limitations.
yeah, for
Murder, man.
murder. By the
Yeah, just
way,
still
every time
candy
that
from a baby.
because I'm still learning about the Delphi murder case. Every time you say that, I think of like that Belle Delphine girl on OnlyFans, the one with the pink hair that gets in the bathtub of Mountain Dew and Doritos and squashes around. So like, I'm glad y'all are catching me up on this because I
I
really
have
I don't.
no idea what you're talking about, but that sounds insane.
You never
So
seen Belle Delphine? She's
this
like
is
the
a
gamer chick.
fun pop culture. This is very fun pop culture. So she's a decent looking chick, and she cut her teeth being a good looking chick playing video games.
Hmm.
Sweet.
And then she started doing like good looking chick scantily dressed wearing playing video games. And
Hmm.
I guess she's leaked a couple of naked photos or something. I don't know the exact thing.
They
I
always
She
don't
do.
know.
does she does a lot of stuff with her feet, like she'll like dress up in like bikinis and stuff and then play video games with her feet and stuff like that, like close ups. Weird stuff, you know.
This is pure genius marketing tactic. So
Yeah.
she gets on OnlyFans, but she does it in a coordinated event. So she sues like Reddit and all the other like bootleg porn sites, right? Like you can like she takes down all of her nude photos, can't find them on the internet, and then she starts putting stuff on Pornhub. And
Hmm.
I know I heard it on I think it was PKA, I don't remember, but there she put up a video on Pornhub that said Belle Delphine double penetration, and it's
Mm.
just her smoking two cigarettes.
Nice.
So
I
and there's a
really need
link
to
to her OnlyFans.
I need to start taking some of these tactics and using them on my OnlyDans. You know what I mean? Like using my feet for stuff and whatnot. I need to cash in on this market.
Please God, don't.
Okay.
You can. I mean, I'll support you whatever your decision is, Dan. I'm just not going to buy any of your
So
Um,
dirty Dan
catch me up
feet.
on the Delphi. Like I want to get back in the loop again. Where did we leave off last week or two
so
weeks
we
or
had got to the part where we were talking a little bit about the crime scene. One of them was found completely unclothed, which they think that was the target. She had um she had logs or branches that were across her body that were in the shape of what seemed to be an Odinic rune, and she was partially covered up, which a lot of times in crimes like that, either the killer is ashamed, supposedly, or they covered up because they knew the person. The other girl was wearing the girl who was naked's clothes. Like he put the wrong clothes on the wrong body or something like that. She was also covered in branches that seemed to be shaped like an Odinic ruin, and she was not covered up, which brought me to my theory of what if the killer was interrupted? Because on one of the episodes that I saw, and then I later went and checked out some of the information that's online. I believe it was Libby had placed her phone that she had recorded that small video inside of her shoe, and then it was underneath the leaves that I believe her body was found on top of. Like she had hid it to make sure that that phone got discovered. Because I'm pretty sure that anybody in their right mind, well, I mean, nobody who murders anybody's in their right mind, but anybody who would do such a crime would try to get rid of at least the cell phones that were present. You know what I'm saying? So I was wondering, I know around 3 o'clock, it said that her father had started calling her phone when he started looking for the girls. I'm wondering if once that phone started ringing, that maybe it startled him. He was like, okay, he, she, we don't know, but um, oh no, like I'm being interrupted. They're gonna find us. People are looking for these girls or whatever, and maybe fled before they finished doing whatever it was that they were doing.
um to go on to what you were talking about with the cell phones, Richard's not up to date with this, but you and I have been looking into that JF Jarapy guy, which we'll talk about him in a little bit. But he
Here.
talks
Yeah.
about you want the cell phones to be pinging and looking like they're active because it kind of helps make more of an active alibi. So I
Does make
don't maybe
sense. I
maybe
mean,
you
you
don't want
know,
the cell phones hiding because that's one thing they say, like it's one thing to have the cell phones like in a location, but like cops nowadays look at it and if it's not active they see it as you're likely using that. But if you can make it look like people are signing in out of apps and looking at their email and stuff like that, it's more viable alibi.
Right. I know that both of the girls were discovered with knife wounds. But the thing is the whole case that they have against this Richard Allen guy right now is that they found a cycled bullet from the magazine of his gun laying in between the bodies at the crime scene. And their theory is that he had already scared them with the gun. Maybe they made a break for it, and he cycled one of the rounds out like to intimidate them, like. But with that being such a heavily populated park with so many people out there, there's no way that he could have fired off a gun and people not went to look or like
Yeah.
tried to
I
find
disagree
out
with
what was
that.
going on.
I disagree with that
Really?
100%. I do. Um, Having lived in rural parts of the country, you hear gunshots.
Oh yeah, I mean we're from the
In a
country.
heavily, how many times have you gone out to see what those gunshots were?
That is an
Um,
excellent point. You
it
go away from
depends.
the gunshots, especially in
Yeah.
Durham.
Yeah, well, in terms that's a different monster. When you're out in the sticks like that, like that's usually somebody either just shooting or and I don't remember, it could have been deer season or whatever, hunting, whatever, you know what I mean. In Durham, if so you hear shooting, chances are it's somebody getting shot at. So
You're right. Well, it
it's a
also
little bit different
depends.
when you live in small town or wherever.
It depends on what we're talking about in a small town too, because like if you've got like 60 acres of land and you hear a gunshot on your property, if if you've got it what sounds like a bigger gun, you may want to go check it out because first thought you're gonna think is somebody's illegally hunting on your land or something like that. I mean, I've been
Yeah.
hunting on my property line or something like that, and then I've had somebody kind of like riding up on ATVs wondering what we were doing. So, like, people will go investigate gunshots. There's actually a funny meme that's like, I'm white, but I'm not going investigating what that noise is, white.
That does exist. No, you're right. So, but you have to be the right type of person with the right understanding of what's going on to go
The
do
right
that.
kind of wrong.
Yes, exactly. Like I know the only times that like I've ever gone towards gunshots is when there was chaos and I didn't know which direction the gunshots were coming from.
Well, that's another thing though. We're not murderers either. We're not out there with two young girls trying to commit a crime. And I mean, I'm not saying that, but I mean to bring a gun there and not fire it, and you know what I'm saying? Like, why else would they be cycling the bullets out other than using them as intimidation?
It's 100%. It's got to be that. I don't like to draw conclusions on any of this
Right.
stuff, especially when it hasn't been proven. There's no admission of guilt. But that's
We'll never get
that's where
that.
my mind goes. Just pop it back. You don't know one's in the chamber. It shoots out.
Well,
Exactly.
he was torturing too, right? That or the murderer
It had to
was
have been.
correct. So
It's by any definition, at least one of them, had to watch their friend die. And it wasn't a simultaneous kill, from what we can tell. So yeah, it's definitely a torture situation.
I mean, he wasn't like shooting the beaver dog or whatever you were talking about earlier. And he wasn't trying to hunt that while
The beaver
simultaneously
dog.
tortured. I forgot
Yeah.
what you said.
Yeller didn't need to
Beaver.
be put down that day.
I
So
still
did
feel
you?
like that's the reason that the firearm wasn't dispensed, though, is because, like, yeah, in our right state of mind, we're not murderers. We're not sitting here thinking like, oh yeah, nobody's going to come running towards gunshots, because we're from this. We've lived in the country, all of us have, but when you're out there committing a crime, you're not thinking like that.
No, you're not. Something you're either doing on like it's you have clearly thought about it. If you're at the
Mm,
point where you're killing somebody,
yeah.
it may be an
Such horror.
impulse,
It's so
you
heinous,
know,
dude.
but
Yeah.
it's been in the back of your head for a while. I know there was a case where somebody like there was a woman, she was closing down a restaurant. I don't remember the exact details, but I know she had called and like she called one of her friends saying there's somebody like outside like watching her or something like that. She ends up like God, I want to say it was a rape murder, and then they had
Ugh.
no idea who did it, and they were all like, "Well, it had to have been somebody with experience. They've definitely done this before." It turns out, DNA 20 years later, 15 years, whatever, however long it was a guy, and it was a one off. He had thought about it, and he found himself in a position where he could do it, and he did it, and that was all. He decided he didn't like it. He moved on with his life, and
The whole, yeah.
yeah, it's
The
just
whole
one of those
reason we,
things. It sucks. It's fucking scary as shit. But
right?
Yeah.
you're right. You don't go in there thinking, okay, well, you're kind of like frantic. I imagine you have to be scared doing something like that. I know the first time I committed a crime, I was fucking shaking in my fucking boots. I was just
Yeah,
afraid to get
dude,
in the
I
building.
don't do well with adrenaline. Like, you
No.
know what I'm saying? Like, when adrenaline kicks in, my body just goes straight into meltdown mode.
I start breathing heavy and like my chest, I get like bad heart rhythms and like did I tell y'all
There's
about the time that I barely missed a bank robbery?
no. Can you hold off for just a
No,
second though?
you're
I have
you're
to get
good.
up
Go
real quick.
ahead.
I want to hear this. I don't want to walk away. Hold on one second. I swear.
You're good, bud. But like while he's going and taking care of business, so we have a suspect in this case now, right?
We have someone that is behind bars. He's not doing too well in prison either. Like that, we talked
Okay.
about that last time.
Yeah.
He's saying that he's being mistreated, that he's being set up by the guards, he's being set up
I'm sorry
by
about that. Thanks for your patience,
other
boys.
criminals.
No, you're good. So,
Um,
I'm going to tell the story real quick. John was with
go
me when
for it.
this happened. I won't mention my bank. I hate them. I hate this bank, and I really want to switch banks. Like, I'm thankful at my job that like I get like paychecks, so I don't have to go to my bank and direct deposit or even deal with them. I can just cash
You
them and
still get
whatnot.
you get checks?
Oh yeah, like
That's that's crazy.
oh well, I prefer it because I hate my bank so much. Well, they've lied to me about things so many times and told me one thing and then another thing. And this one day, I'd gotten a check, like I think it might have been a tax return check or something like that, and I went to try to cash it at this branch in Durham, and of course it's Durham, you know. But I go in there and I'm like, so I'll be able to cash this today, and they're like, yeah, sure, no problem. And they go to cash it, and because of another mistake this bank made, they're like, "Oh, actually, we won't be able to give you the money today. It'll have to wait for 72 hours." It's like, I just asked you if I'd be able to cash it and get the money today because I need it to pay my bills. Well, I know, but I told you, I was, I don't know, and I was like, I could have went to any other bank, and now you're gonna hold this. I was like, this is why I hate this bank. Karma's gonna get the better of y'all one day, and not 10 minutes later, somebody came in and robbed that bank at gunpoint.
That's amazing, dude. So I guess they're no longer a bank anymore, but it was BB&T back in the day, and
Yeah,
this is back when they were doing that real shitty thing where they were picking and choosing which transactions to charge so that you would
to
overdraft.
overdraft. Wells Fargo did
Yeah,
that too.
and
Let's not get into Wells Fargo.
No, that's a whole list of bastardry that could go on for days. Um, yeah, man, I was at the time I was living in Maryland. I was 19, 20, something like that. I was under 21. And or maybe I just turned 20. I don't remember. But anyways, long story short, I remember I went in there with a paycheck and I went to go cash it and they're like, "Well, you're overdrawn $275." My check was 312, something like that. It was some silly number. I was like, how on earth did that happen? Like, what? What? And it was the charges that they racked up
Hmm.
on top of the like
Hmm.
$20 I overdrew or something like that. And man, those are real fuckers. I switched banks. I never dealt with
Oh
them
yeah,
again.
yeah,
Uh,
most definitely.
it's a weird time in history. Sorry to go on a rant there.
No, no, like
Anytime you
Adrenaline
bring up
thing.
banks, I mean, it's just what happens. There's been so many shit stories involved with banking, and when they do it, there's nothing you can do about it.
no,
And then
and
they ran us into the ground in 2008 and got fuck away with it with extra cash. Bastards. They're all
like
bastards.
it almost seems like the poorer you are, the more they want to fuck you over and the less likely they're going to try to help you. And like the more they treat you like garbage too. Like if you come in there and you got like a $20,000 check and you're trying to put like 10,000 of in there, they'll treat you nice. But if it's literally like your ends meet check, they'll fuck you over. Be like, "Oh, you can't even cash it here. I've got an account here." Yeah, well, you're like $180. Fuck you. Go
We
die.
need to hold it for 7 days to make sure that it clears. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, thank you.
High poverty.
Yeah.
Cash app till I die.
Dude, I went to a
Oh man.
Subway. I went to a Subway and I had $100 bill, and it's the Subway. Like, you know how like back home there's two Subways like a mile away from each other for some stupid reason. Well, I went to the dead broke one, and I went to go get a sandwich, and I even added chips to make it like an even $15. I'm supposed to get $85 back in change. They're like, do you have any other like amounts of money? I was like, all I have is this. And they're like, we can't give you this. We don't have enough money in the store. And I was like, you don't have $85 in the store? They're like, no. And I was like, can you guys start checking your pockets? Because I already bought the sandwich. Start asking
Dude,
some people driving by if you can loan the money.
We
I
need you out
worked
there
at
with a sign, bud.
I worked at Subway in Moorhead and in Newport, and the Newport gig was one. It was one of my favorite gigs. Yeah, it's for my age, you
I
know, it
like
was
that
fun while I was
Subway.
working there. But the amount of just like fuckery that was going on behind the scenes was crazy. And I don't know if they own the same owner group in the Havelock area or not. They could be, could not be. I don't know. But I know super religious, like openly bragged about how religious they were. The owner and the manager, and they got caught. They were caught banging in the store. They were both
Sweet.
married. Um, somebody at the so I got out. They put like super irresponsible 16, 17-year-old me in charge of closing the store down.
Oh
And
shit.
I asked the guy, I was like, well, what do I do with the money then? I think, oh, yeah, you put it in an envelope, you put it underneath the register. I was like, fucking sweet. I can do that. Yeah, I'm still in school. You know what I mean? I did that at night. Yeah, I get off 2:30 in the morning, whatever, however late it was. And somebody was going in and taking the money. I'm pretty sure it was the owner's son. Like I saw that dude like make I don't know how many subs, and then just anytime somebody paid with cash, he just took, he didn't ring him up. He canceled the order out to put the cash in his pocket. And
Dude,
they had this investigation. There was a camera up behind my head. I was like, "Oh, dude, that's easy. Look, the camera's right there. Why are you talking to me about stealing this money? Like, oh, that doesn't work." I was like, "You, why have it?"
What money then?
security theater.
Well, it's some dude, man. One of the dudes that worked there, real nice guy, real cool guy. He. There's no way I'd peg him. Obviously I don't know if he did or not. But there's no way I'd peg him for stealing. But he bought he bought some like fake knockoff rims. Those were real popular back in the day for his Geo Tracker. It was such a silly looking car, man. A little weird box with
Yeah.
it's like a remote controlled Jeep and had rims
Huh.
on it. And
Oh my
they
God.
accused him of stealing the money. It was,
Dude,
yeah, that was,
that subway you're talking about. Well, I don't know if you know him, but I know a guy that he was a closer there, and he got all drunk one night and he filled up the deep sink with soapy water and he literally took a bath. Like he took his clothes off and took a bath in there, and he didn't get
Subway, we're
fired.
very sorry.
that's not
We
the
love your
dirtiest thing I've
sandwiches,
heard
by the
happen
way.
on the subway.
He took a bath in there. He was drunk as hell in front of all these girls and stuff like that, and he still didn't lose his job.
We had there is
Wait,
we had an
what?
alcoholic. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it is very hard to get fired right now because when I there aren't very many people who are willing to take jobs like that anymore.
Well, when the government hands out $6,400, it's hard to get people to go back to work when the pandemic's over. Y'all
Right.
got any more of that COVID money, man? Shit.
I wish, man. Yeah,
Right.
there's that, but it's not that either. It's inflation, and
Yeah.
you have to really like
And
you have to really
stagnation of
sit there and
wages.
stop and go, okay.
Man, I remember during the pandemic, people in Durham were driving home in Hellcats, bro.
Oh yeah, man, stimulus checks are
Great
great.
times, yeah.
Man, I will say of those, probably the best policy that I've seen in a long time was the child care credits that they were
Yeah.
dishing out monthly instead of giving it to you at the end of the year when you file your taxes. That was the best thing out of that whole situation in terms of government checks and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
that was able to keep people in daycares. That was able to keep
Yeah.
daycares open.
I love all those kind of things, like WIC too. Like I really am a big like WIC helped us out a lot. Like when the babies were little and whatnot. Like I can't tell you how many dozens of boxes of honey bunches of oats I got to eat. But I mean, like I loved it, man. I was starving, and I know
It's
the
an incentive
government's
not to get married, is what it was.
yeah. I know the government's trying to cut that stuff out. And then like certain grocery stores I'd go to, like the more upper end ones, people would like roll their eyes and like try to talk shit to us for like feeding our children. Like I'm so sorry that I'm stopping you from getting like $80 worth of lottery tickets so you can go gamble your retirement away, you asshole.
Dude, those judgmental people they're such bastards. They
Yeah,
really are. Just to walk around with that much hate.
because
It's just not a good way to live.
you
Well,
got
the
to
way I
have your
look at
lottery
it,
tickets.
I
This
mean,
episode's gone off the
during that
rails.
time that, we were getting that money for the stimulus and all that, look at how happy people were that they actually had just a little bit of extra money. You know what I'm saying? And even, I don't know. It's like during that time there were so many sources for food. There were so many sources for assistance, and it was just like people were happier that they had a little bit of a load taken off.
Yeah.
Because the
Well,
way I look at, and this is the way I always looked at economics, it's like, okay, I have $500. You're gonna tax me on that after, and then if I give it to Richard, they're gonna tax me on the sale, and they're gonna tax Richard for getting the $500.
and when
You
you
know what I'm
die,
saying? Like,
they
and then
tax you
at
when
the
you
end of the
die
year, they're
too.
gonna tax both of us again.
Yeah,
It was
I get
bottom
it.
up stimulation, economic stimulation, and that's something that we call communism
Yeah.
for some god awful reason, or socialism, and then but we live in a system where you can trickle down without a problem.
We're
That's something that's it's a head scratcher.
we were talking about the pandemic, like because the carbon emissions
We're
stopped.
doing exactly what we said we weren't gonna do.
Well, I did have
Yeah,
something
well,
I did have something I wanted to bring up.
Go
Um,
ahead.
we were talking about the like our carbon emissions went down and the temperature on the planet started getting better. It got cooler. Well, the other day I was looking into something, and apparently there's a correlation between the temperature dropping on the planet and the plague coming back. Now, I'm wondering if we were to actually like course correct and climate change and global warming and get the planet to not only like stop heating, but if we start cooling, are we going to bring the plague back? If that's true, like every time we had a big massive volcano eruption that lowered the temperature, we had plague epidemics. Well, now I'm wondering if we actually fix climate change, if we're going to bring the plague back. I don't know. That's just something I wanted to ask you guys.
I don't think so because we have effective technology to treat the situation. Now, the also another one of the big driving factors behind plague deaths is in those situations where we had like the little ice age crop failures.
Mm,
So people didn't have they weren't properly nourished, so they were dying for other reasons. So you have
yeah,
a weakened population that's struggling to survive. Mix in a cold
yeah.
or a bacterial infection, I guess in this case,
Not to mention
you
those
die
people
off
were
faster.
they were sucking rats and rat bones back in the day, so that affected them too.
Yeah, and then I don't think that we're going to blame it on witchcraft this time around and kill off all the cats. So the rodent
Well, you
population
also
will
had the
explode.
Irish that, that's how they get associated with the potato is because it was such it's like such an easy plant to grow and it's so cheap to maintain that that was the way they made it through that time.
Yeah, they had like I think it was on a half acre or a full acre, you could have two cows and enough potatoes to sustain your family for a year. Um, which fun fact for you, the potato famine wasn't actually a potato famine. It was a British taxing famine because they were taking all the good potatoes and they weren't because of the way the land was set up. They weren't allowed to grow other crops. Other crops did well, but the overlords would kick them out of their house if they didn't. So there you go. Irish history is very different. But John, you were absolutely correct.
Yeah,
We
sorry
have
about
gone off the rocker. We
derailing.
haven't been a very we haven't done a good job staying on the show subject this week. Um, but since we are off the topic, off the subject, um, I do want to
Let's just
bring
stay
up
off.
yeah I do want to bring up the direction of the show. Now, John and I spoke at length the other night. I'm assuming he filled you in on the conversation we had, Dan. Um,
Not a bit.
but if not, you know, I think that we are at a point where we can take this serious enough to make a pretty good run at potentially maybe not making it big, but maybe having a show where people actually listen and there is some impact with what we're doing. Where do you stand on that, Dan?
I'm I would love to do that. Like I mean, like I've got a void in my life I'm trying to fill with like I don't want to say that I want to like having a midlife crisis, but like I definitely want more fulfillment out of my life, and I'm enjoying doing this. Absolutely.
I think you're always in a state of midlife crisis, Dan. It's a
It's
problem
got
you've
to
had
end.
for a
It's
long
got to
time.
end sometime.
No.
So I think that over the next probably 2 to 3 months, we're going to be putting a little bit more of our resources into it and
Hmm.
sorting out some of the audio issues that we've had. Um, John has picked up, or at least identified. We haven't picked it up yet. John has identified the recording set that he wants to purchase, and I know we talked about possibly doing shows in person.
Hmm.
That's going to be a coordinated effort that we're going to need to do. Um,
I
John,
just feel like
where
anytime that we're all in the same room together, like, yeah, you just can't capture that on Skype or on
It's more
on
organic.
cameras. Not the banter that we have in real life.
Right. We do a pretty good job, though.
I agree. I think that our shows have progressively gotten better.
Absolutely.
And I believe that so we have interviews over the next 3 to 4 weeks. And I believe that this is going to be kind of the pivotal how do we sound, how do we handle these interviews, because the guy we have coming up for this week's interview, which will be it's a 2 week behind or a week behind. He is. They're all podcasters, and they all bring something different to the table. However, this next podcast that we're going to interview, a gentleman named Bruce. He's an author. I can't remember the name of it. It's authentic something off the top of my head. We'll have links to the show and all that stuff whenever we interview him. He is not in our genre at all. So it'll be interesting to see how that conversation goes. And I think if that goes really well, I think that there's room for us to discuss how do we move forward with the show. Are we doing a Gatorman episode every week? Are we doing true crime every week? I mean, it's pretty hard for us to stay on topic. I mean, Jesus Christ, we're talking about the murder of 2 girls and the completely fucked up case
Subway.
by the
Got
cops and the
it.
lawyers and the judge, and we're over here talking about hot
Hellcats.
sauce and
Rigging in sports.
stimulus checks. Like how does it fit in, and can we be all of that?
Well,
And I think
That's what I think is like the way I see it is like, no matter what it is the people that watch this, they watch because of the voice that you have, and because they like the things that you talk about and the way you talk about them. So
true. We need to get VPNs too, probably, because like the
that's
more that
probably a good idea.
the more we get out there, the more likely someone's going to try to swat us or like, just
Lord,
do
don't bring
something.
that up.
I mean,
we'll
the internet's
unjinx
listening.
ourselves.
But I mean, like,
if we get it, especially if we get in that like gamer crowd, or we just say the right thing at the wrong time on the internet. There's no telling who's gonna be involved with that. But I don't think we'll have. So I hope that won't be an issue.
I definitely like. I mean, I like the PKA show, but I kind of wouldn't want their crowd around me. Like, there's some animals, man.
Well, they're video game players from the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Or mid 2000s, I guess. Like
back when the internet was still the Wild West.
Yeah, dude. Like that's your crowd. That's your crowd.
What they did to the Lore Lodge guy, man. He's good, but they tore him a new one. He said he was sorry on their show because
I must have missed that one.
He was they were talking about the Alex Jones trial, and he was trying to talk about how Alex Jones kind of got an unfair trial, and it was a carnival show. I wouldn't say that it was unfair, but like they've turned it into like this, Alpha Woody puts Beta, whatever his name is, in his cuck hole, and it's like, damn, dude, he was just having an opinion on the internet.
That's a sin. That's a sin by all accounts, Dan. Not allowed to have opinions and hot takes on things.
And I'm already saying some weird. I'm saying some weird shit already, so
Fucking Wings. Look at Wings. Wings is a fucking perpetual. He's just being bullied all times, man. They have a group called the Whale Watchers where they just follow him around. It's so fucking mean.
Well, he tried to get a real job too, and like delivering food and stuff like that, and they were like getting him fired everywhere he went and stuff like that, and doxing him and whatnot. So yeah. I definitely, internet can be kind of scary. And like that one girl, have you seen that one girl that's like they've anorexia'd her to pretty much death? Like just talking about her body image and stuff like that, and she's just like withering away. Nowadays, like a small breeze will just take her away. She got a fan in her room, man. She's gone.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one.
Or
I
the
do
opposite.
like the idea of having a variety. Sometimes it could be technology, sometimes it could be
Oh
science
yeah.
based, sometimes it could be, you know what I mean, the spirituality or like just having a variety opens the door to so many different types of people that we can interview and so many different types of perspectives that we can get on the world.
Well, that's the
I mean,
beauty of
look at
having.
Joe Rogan's show. He has so many different types of people from so many different walks of life. And all he does is just listen.
Well, not to mention, like in our name we have lore, and I mean, like that's we're talking about like American culture or whatever culture we want to talk about, history, everything. We all
Oh,
kind of have a
Georgie
broad.
boy.
We have a broad knowledge of everything. Anyways, I loved our George Washington episode. That was a good one.
It was fun.
We still got to film the death of George Washington. That's
Oh
going to
God,
be our first real skit.
Yeah,
Dan,
we need to make
we didn't.
skits
I
and
don't
stuff.
know if you weren't here for that conversation. Yeah, no, we need to do that. We
Oh
need
yeah.
to absolutely 100% need to do that. I'm
And
willing to
being how
pay
I have the
$150.
most, like, I look the most like George Washington, I want to be George Washington.
Sure.
I'm a I'm I'm a I'm 100% on board with that.
Yeah.
He never shaved either.
Really?
Yep.
He was just
No, I
born
made it
with.
up.
Oh,
Straight
it
made
was
it
Man.
up.
so much harder to shave back in the day. I don't know why everyone didn't have beards.
He didn't have to. He scared the hair off of his face.
He's like the
He
Chuck
freed
Norris
himself
of
of the burden
forefathers.
of shaving.
Did you know that barbers back in the day, like they had more than just cutting your hair? Like they'd cut your hair, shave your beard, and bloodlet you at the same time, and put leeches on you. That's where the red stripe comes on the barber thing. Is if you had the red
From
stripe, you were
leeching?
allowed to, yeah, to put leeches on people and cut them open and drain them of blood. Excuse me.
What?
Have
Yeah.
you ever seen a leech in real life?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I've seen one. I like outside of, I think there you could buy them at a fishing store one time. I had a friend of mine. We were roommates. He came home with a leech on his back. No idea how it got there. It was real weird. I mean, he's a construction worker. It's not like he's out swimming in a river or something. Like home dude just had a random leech.
Didn't
That's
your
the creepiest
ex-wife have
shit.
a leech on her one time, John? Okay,
No,
maybe.
he lost his audio.
I gotcha. Well,
Hello?
hi. But
I
yeah,
think
like
the
I've
internet
I've
froze.
no, it's good on our part.
So there are some comedic opportunities that I would like to take advantage of. And I think doing a skit where we do a legit play setting and film a George Washington scene would be amazing.
We've been
There's
talking
also
about
some
that for
heavier
a
topics
while.
that I have toyed around with, that I don't think I'm willing to put my name on until at least I've at least established, whether or not I'm going to pursue the professional career that I'm planning on pursuing.
I
Because the
get
last thing
that.
I want is something weird to be on the internet, and that stops me from getting, um, X number of hours to get the full license to practice by myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um, but once I get that license, I don't give a shit. Problem is, I
right.
have to get the license. So
I'm
Yeah,
once I
sorry I
get
no.
that
missed all
figured
that.
out, I'm sorry.
Um,
Yeah, we're just talking about, I mean, just talking about comedic exploration and doing a proper play and turning that into a show. And I think that that is something, the George Washington play. I think that is something that we could put together and then rent a studio, or not a studio, but a we could rent like a high school auditorium over the
I
summer
was gonna
break.
I was gonna say a kids play zone. Yeah, we'll do the play
Okay, the
there.
only thing with that is we do one performance. one and done, one time, and it's going to be smashing. It's got to be perfect the first time.
I've
we
been
record it.
interested in making YouTube shorts and stuff like that, and like Facebook Reels, and but I want to get better equipment. I need a new phone. This phone sucks, and like we have some like little camera for making like stop motion videos and stuff like that too. Like we have the technology, we can make it better.
So we'll talk offline about it,
Right.
but I'll make my way up to your area this weekend and drop off that laptop that we talked about.
Okay.
Um, got
You know,
some
my
plans
birthday's
to
coming
do with
up.
that. Is it? Well, happy birthday, Dan.
I
Yeah,
know.
it's 2 days.
Saturday. Yeah.
Saturday.
And so yeah, I think that's something that we're gonna hash out, and maybe we do a relaunch of the podcast. You know what I mean? Like, okay, now we're back. We have the proper equipment. We've
Hmm.
got the experience. We've worked our way through the technological issues that we've had,
Hmm.
and we
We
have a
found our
better
voice.
sounding show. 'Cause listening to show one, listening to show two, and then we started really hitting our stride show three,
Yeah.
and then we knocked it out of the park with show four.
Right.
And then even George Washington, that episode could have been better. It
Right.
was still enjoyable.
Look, we are going to reissue that and it's going to be perfect. You heard the idea I had of wearing costumes when we do it.
Yes.
I want to
And so
wear a
maybe
tri-corner hat. I want the whole get up and I want to redo my whole speech about George Washington dressed as George Washington.
I mean,
we
I
could have
like
you doing that on a separate event, and then
I
that
He's
like
my
our
favorite. He's
cover.
just so great. He was the greatest president ever.
I
And he
like our
didn't even really.
idea of the comedy of Ted Bundy. I think that's a good one. The way that John tells the story, it's hilarious.
That sound yeah, we'll have to plan that one out. So
Right.
we have to find a day to sit down and talk
Hmm.
and write things down, get an image board up or something. I don't know, whatever the fucking gurus do to make shit look manifest, right? Um,
We need a Patreon also because like if we put anything on YouTube, like nowadays, like you're supposed to blurt out and bleep out all this stuff, and if you don't, they demonetize you over everything. Like you can't even say kill, you can't say murder, like words
Yeah,
like
you let the
bonk.
R word slip earlier, Richard.
didn't I?
The grape word.
Yeah, yeah.
We
Got to
gotta
work
be
that one
like,
out.
there's a lot of like planning and thought, and there's definitely a lot of self editing that you have to do. It's a lot of work, but it's
Well,
worth it.
they got that right wing social media. We should troll them sometime. Like act like we're making a real legit episode, like we're talking about like Trump and stuff like that, but just make up some outlandish bullshit. Kind of like whenever they had, you remember when they were doing the JFK Jr. stuff and all those people thought he was in a secret bunker? We could do something like that. We should also have some episodes where we just make up some insane conspiracy theory and see if we get a trend following with that.
Oh my god, fake history.
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable doing like attacking any political group right now.
Oh no, no,
No.
no, not
Or
attacking
even
them
just
like
trolling them. So I ran for mayor a couple of
oh
years
yeah,
ago,
I remember.
That was wonderful.
and
Cuz I was going to run
the
against you. I like you remember you said your thing was that you were the candidate with the beard. I was going to shave all
yes.
my body hair off. I was going to shave all my body hair off and grease myself and be like your polar opposite.
So I I never took that serious, but because my name was in the running for a very small town, the amount of pure hatred and animosity that I encountered from people reaching out to me to ask me what I thought about being mayor was something that I never want to deal with in a full
No.
fledged, like, oh no, we pissed off the right. oh no, we pissed off the left, because the people who are really entrenched in those communities are fucking crazy.
Absolutely.
This week, I posted a meme. It was funny. I thought it was hilarious. They did not get the joke. It was slightly religious. It was slightly political, and I lost some friends. I lost I lost an argument, which is something I don't like to do, and I had to explain a joke to somebody, which I really don't like to explain a joke to spare somebody's feelings. And I agree, religion and politics is something that I absolutely want to stay away from.
Yeah, I get that.
There's a
Well,
lot of money in grifting either way, though. There's a
yeah,
ton of money in grifting either way. Like, I
dude,
know
If
that's
we
another
can
thing.
figure out a way to unbiasedly, without any opinions of our own, portray it in a way that isn't offensive to anybody, which has not ever been done in the history of mankind, then I'm okay with it, and we can have that blessing. But I mean, if you can figure out how to tiptoe through religion and politics, you are cut from a different cloth.
I don't mind grifting the religion though. Like they got a lot of
Oh,
money and
dude.
they like to spend it.
So I have I know I had mentioned about a church at the end of one of our private conversations, and I think that there is some very important work that needs to be done in that realm, because there are people who are going to power, and they are bringing their religion with them. And when people bring their religion with them into power, it is a very bad thing for the rest of the world.
Absolutely.
The way history's always been, it doesn't matter which religion. And so I think that tackling different religions is an important thing. However, I'm not in a position to do that right now, and I won't be for probably another 3 years.
Yeah, I get
Um,
that.
at least with my name and face on it. Yeah, with a VPN and podcast form. Yeah, maybe. But I can't have legions of people finding out where I live. And
Right.
when you occupy a space in your mind where the most important thing for you to do is not in this world, it's in the afterlife. It doesn't matter what you do, as long as you're doing some type of whatever ritual you follow. If you're not, you're capable of doing anything. You're capable of rationalizing anything. I've seen people, in the religion I grew up in, you can get excommunicated, and people, your family won't talk to you.
Oh,
Like,
my dad's kind of like that.
yeah, you know what I mean. That's not uncommon. If you're cool kicking out your pregnant daughter because she's pregnant out of wedlock, there's a lot of hate flowing through your body there.
Yeah.
And that's something that we'll look at, and I have to.
Sorry, I think the neighbors were having a good time, so I had to get out of there.
Oh, okay. Well,
What are they
hello.
doing in our house?
They're not in our house. Thin walls.
I gotcha.
It's fun stuff. But yeah, we got off subject. We got off subject a lot. We'll have to retitle this episode "Hot Sauce and Shit" or something.
I honestly I feel like about 80% of this is unusable, but it's okay.
Nah, I thought it was all good content.
Oh, it's great content, but it's only for people that are familiar with us, you know what I mean? And we haven't reached that personal basis with everyone yet.
No, but it's interesting, and I think it's honest and candid. So right now, our listeners are 4 or 5 people that we know personally,
Right.
and then we have other other podcast hosts who are listening to our shows. We'll get the occasional random.
Speaking of which, we need to go to a podcast con, like Crime Con, or some kind of gathering where these people come together and even pick up some pointers. We could get some feedback, talk to some people, shake hands, maybe even talk to a studio.
So I think that is exactly what we need to do. I think that it would be a good idea for us to go to festivals. We have the Bladensboro Beast. We can get a booth there, dirt cheap.
Oh yeah.
We have Bigfoot. With 3 Bigfoot festivals in North Carolina. Easy.
Right.
There's a UFO. We have Charlotte. We have Raleigh.
We could do one at the
There are
flea
festivals.
mall.
I'm sorry.
So we could do one at the flea mall. That's a regular freak show. There's all kinds of cryptids out there.
That's only $12 too, man. That's good. We could people watch for all that cares.
I'm still
I
mad at you
think
and Sherman for that.
Oh yeah, you got
going
to
to the
get
flea
over it.
mall.
He
Oh, don't
was
worry about it.
he was
I am
tripping.
worried about it. I want to know.
So
You need to tell me more
I
about
took
it.
I took a mind altering substance and they abandoned me in the rain at the flea mall.
Jesus,
We
that's a
also
dick
we also
move,
took him
dude.
to Golden Corral. Like we tried to make him go around as many people as possible.
That's
And then
you're
the
not
end of
good
the night,
guides.
then at the end of the night, we left him at the house, and one of his friends came over. That just his wife had just left him,
Yeah,
and
let's fall away
but
from that one.
he crawled in. He
Yeah.
crawled into John's bed and was crying on him, and then John threw up into a crock pot.
Oh, and I spent about 25 minutes at Burger King trying to put ice in a cup. Then they told me there was no ice in the machine.
I think we've all been there, buddy.
Yeah.
You haven't
It
been
was a
into
good
Burger
time.
King angry about their ice machine. You're not American.
Why don't they
Um,
just have an automatic ice maker in the goddamn machine?
Well, that was like 20 years ago.
yeah, the technology existed, but Burger King wasn't up to date, man. They lost the fry war. They didn't have that
Dude,
money. They didn't have McDonald's money.
No, they didn't. I don't care what anybody says. The Whopper beats any sandwich at McDonald's, hands down. Hands
I'm okay.
down.
when
I'm completely okay with that argument. I
Absolutely. You
won't push
put
back on
bacon
that
and cheese on
because
a
you're both
Whopper,
wrong.
it is the only sandwich I will pay $9 for at a fast food restaurant and not bitch
Um,
about it.
I had a random thought pop into my head talking about going to CrimeCon. I think I think that there is room for us to do an alternative sports show where we talk about LARPing and we talk about the
cricket,
no, that's I wouldn't call cricket an alternative sports podcast. It's
Instead
one
of
of those
talking about LARPing, I would like to go to an actual LARP session and just do guest commentary for it.
they have
on
them.
the scene.
We can do
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah,
There
well I don't
is
want
armored
we don't
combat sports.
I've seen some of those.
So
right. Roller derby.
we can do that. We
Roller
have the
derby
ability
is
to do that.
vicious. Yeah. Those roller
LARPing,
derby
I'll go with
girls
LARPing.
are some of the most graceful, elegant psychopaths I've ever seen in my entire life.
That is probably the best description I've heard of the roller derby people.
And they
Yeah.
love it.
We'll
I like these ideas.
more to come. There's
Yeah.
for if you are one of our 7 regular listeners.
We're gonna put ourselves out there, y'all.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
We're gonna try.
Stick around. Tell your friends.
We're
Hit
gonna
like
try.
and subscribe. We have to get used to
We
saying
have
that.
one extrovert and 2 extremely introverts trying to venture out into
Here's the
society.
thing. I don't think either of us know which one's which.
I don't, dude, Richard, you are always trying to get us like, come on, let's go to Chuck E. Cheese with 70 kids. Okay. That was one of the best times I've had in a long time, though, man. Those kids were so happy.
Yeah.
Oh, they had a blast, man. And it's not
Right.
like I just invited you to a random Chuck E. Cheese, dude. Like there was a birthday involved.
The greatest thing was when they handed me the cup and they're like, all you can drink Mountain Dew. And I was like, oh, buddy, I hope you got a spare case.
That pizza was not actually. That pizza was pretty good. I will say that. Like, they get a lot of stigma for their pizza, and I actually kind of enjoyed it.
They reassemble it.
That is, I asked about that while we were there, and that lady looked at me and she rolled her eyes. She goes, "That fucking video," and I was like, "Did you just cuss in Chuck E. Cheese?"
Did you see the pizza they brought? There's no way you can deny who. No, nobody makes pizzas. No, I'm sorry, dude.
You
So
remember Coldplay?
What did they do? They cut up 7 pies and then just rearrange them in no particular order.
Yes.
I don't think that's a corporate strategy. There's no way they're paying those people enough to do that on purpose. If that is happening, it's because whoever's in the back is going, fuck it, why not? I think, which we've all worked fast food. We've all been there. We've all had that lady order extra ketchup, and we just,
Did you have to deal with?
On there.
Did y'all hear about the guy that the kids that the Little Caesars that put the swastika on the pizza?
Oh my Jesus Christ! No, I didn't hear that at all.
Yeah,
Little Caesars of all places.
And the news tried to spin it that they were racist, but they were just teenage kids. Like, oh man, this is gonna be funny. What'd you say his last? Yeah. And
it sucks you can do something like that and put it on social media to be there forever. You know, that's fucking silly. Now, I getting back to Chuck E. Cheese's, I will say that I'm very proud of how I handled being a host at Chuck E. Cheese's.
Oh, most definitely.
I have been dealing with mental health issues for the last 10 years, and I have worked very hard to get myself together to where I can be out in public and be around loud noises like that. And for me to be able to go out there and bridge the gap between my middle school best friends, my mid-20s best friends, and friends of the kids' friends, and my adult Richard friends. Flawless. Did a great job.
Very nice.
Handled that really well. I mingled effectively. That was 10 out of 10 performance on my part.
Do you know why? Because you were having problems hearing and you couldn't hear in there anyways. And everybody that was there just wanted to drink Mountain Dew and eat pizza and not talk a lot. So it was the perfect setup for the perfect gathering. I've never seen anything pulled off so flawlessly.
Yeah, it was good.
Just a whole lot.
That was a good cake, by the way. That lemon cake, that was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Miles is a big lemon fan, dude. That kid loves citrus fruits. We have to tell him not to do it. We just had some street tacos, air quotes, that came with limes, and he's like, okay, limes. I'm like, no, you're gonna have cavities, but we can sprinkle the lime juice on there. So, yeah, he's a big fan of that stuff, man. That was good stuff, man. I've gotten better at that. I know for a while. I know we were talking about a friend of ours' ex-wife. I remember she called me a motivator one time, and so I have been extroverted, and I have been for a long time. So I try my best to not hide.
Well, this has been an all-around fantastic episode.
Oh,
I've enjoyed listening to myself talk for the last hour and a half.
We've been working ourselves off for like 30 minutes.
We have about 17 minutes of consumable content in here.
The rest of the time we're talking about the great ideas that we have. We got these ideas, man.
We may or may not do everything that we talked about. We will. I don't care if you guys show up or not. We will have content where we're working out George Washington's last days in the world.
Oh, most definitely. It's such a good idea.
We will be going to a LARPing event. And
absolutely,
I don't know how we're going to do that and record. And I don't know how many people we're
incognito.
But we're going to do that. That is going to happen. It might not happen for a couple of months because it's winter, and I don't know if LARPers are fair weather people or not.
I can't think of a more fair weather sport.
You got some winter LARPers too. Like, I'm sure there's some solstice people and whatnot. There's
like some seriously dedicated Game of Thrones fans, maybe, because all of that show is winter based.
We need to look into the geocaching stuff because there's a lot of like mysticism to that meets AI. Like, it's kind of crazy. Yeah.
That's fucking weird, man. I have to look into that. That's I had a friend who did that. He is. I love him to death. But he's an
It,
oddball.
no,
But
it's weird. Like, hold on one second. So like, you'll get like a topic that it'll give you, and then you'll go to the like location, and then like you do cherry pick a little bit, but more often than not, it leads you on something that like it's weird how you'll find something that matches the topic that it gives you, and I've seen it happen quite a bit where
I
it
have a
works out.
Randonautica story.
Yeah, geocaching Randonautica.
So, it's nothing scary, it's nothing creepy, but
It's fascinating.
when I first tried Randonautica, I was like, I did with something corny. I was like, I want to find true love, right? So I get my location and I go there, and it's like this flower garden. I was like, whatever, this is what it is. I thought it was fake. So I'm out there and I start taking pictures of this flower garden. I thought it was kind of neat. It was out in the middle of woods in the middle of nowhere. And I turn around to go back to the car, and this 65-year-old man and his wife come walking down the road holding hands, and he stops and he picks one of the flowers and hands it to her. She kissed him on the cheek and they walked away. It wasn't exactly what I'd asked for, but it happened. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that was so sweet and so cool.
Yeah, it'd be
It's a
fun to
cool
try
thing to
that.
witness,
Yeah,
and then to have the presence of mind to like take in what you're seeing.
yeah.
Right. And that's the
That's a cool
spiritualism
moment.
aspect of it.
But it's just fascinating where spirituality or whatever meets AI. It's kind of neat how that works out.
Well, boys, I think that's
Great
it.
success. All right.
Right.
Very good.
I hope you enjoyed our 17 minutes of consumable media.
Yes, all 17 minutes of it. We love you guys.